All right, Shawn, thank you for the introduction. Welcome to all of the attendees today. My name is Ryan Schneider. I am the Associate Dean of Operations and Effectiveness here at the University of Findlay College of Pharmacy, as well as Department Chair for Pharmaceutical Sciences. It's a pleasure to get the opportunity to moderate this panel discussion today. I think we're going to have a lot of fun to try to answer all questions that you have. So just to piggyback on some of what Shawn was just talking about, we want this to be an interactive session today. We have some, some objectives that we plan to talk to you about. We want you to introduce you to the profession of pharmacy. We want to talk about our College of Pharmacy here at the University of Findlay, but we want to make sure that you guys have the opportunity to ask questions. As a participant or attendee for today, you all should have received an email from us that had several different videos and some articles to read through. So we do encourage you, if you haven't had the chance yet, to take a look at that on your own time. I think there's some great resources in there that talk about various career options in pharmacy. I think there's some good materials that talk about how, we at the University of Findlay College of Pharmacy have stepped up in order to help out during the COVID-19 crisis by making some hand sanitizer. There's a virtual tour of the college and so on and so forth. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that email yet, please do so. And we're going to do our best to answer questions that you have. So at this point in time, what I will do is I'll turn it over to Dean Debra Parker to introduce herself. And we're just going to introduce the panel here today, and then we'll get started. Dean Parker.
Thanks, Dr. Schneider. Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad you are up before noon, which is more than I can say for some teenagers that live in my house. So glad that you are here. I am extremely excited to get to interact with you this morning to tell you about the profession of pharmacy. Maybe it's something you know a little bit about. Maybe you're just starting to explore this as a career option. I may be a little biased, but I think it's an awesome career to pursue. I'm also excited to share with you a little bit about Findlay's pharmacy program. So looking forward to your questions.
Dr. Perry.
Hi, I'm Laura Perry. I'm one of the faculty members within the College of Pharmacy, and I teach within the 4th and the 5th year of our 6-year program, mostly in the professional division. I also am a practicing pharmacist at Rite Aid Pharmacy, so we like to bring a lot of the information that we're learning within the clinical field back into the classroom. So I'm excited to answer some of your questions today and get you excited about the profession of pharmacy.
All right, Liz.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Liz Trevino. I actually work in the College of Pharmacy office. I help on the admissions side with all of our students that have questions and even the admissions process with coming into our college as a student.
All right, Stephanie.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie, and I'm a P6 student. Actually just finished my last day of classes at the University of Findlay. During my time on campus, I was involved in different organizations. I was in the choir, as a resident assistant, so there's a lot of things you can get involved with on campus. I'm originally from Liberty Center, Ohio, and I'm excited to talk to you guys today.
All right, great. How about O?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Olunife. I just finished my P3 year, going on my P4 year of 6. So an exciting time. I'm from Aurora, Illinois, originally, and I currently serve as the president of student government on campus, as well as a resident assistant. And I'm pretty involved on campus, and I'm also the OPA trustee, so the Ohio Pharmacists Association. So there's a lot of things you can do. I'm definitely here to give you the background and the knowledge of a student perspective, so don't be afraid to ask any questions.
All right, and how about Carson?
Hi, I'm Carson Shoemaker. I'm a freshman or sophomore now. I just finished my P1 year. P1 of 6. I am from Nashville, Tennessee, and I am on the soccer team. If you have any questions about athletics or how it is balancing school and sports, go ahead, ask away.
All right, very good. Thank you all for introducing yourselves, and let's give Stephanie a round of applause for finishing up here her 6 long years. Great job, Stephanie, for all of that hard work. So, what I'd like to do just to reset some of the interactive participation here today, as Shawn mentioned at the very beginning, those that are attendees of today's session, what we'd like you to do is click on the Q&A tile there towards the bottom of your screen and go ahead and type in questions that you may have for us. It'll take a little bit of time for us to get through some of those. So we want you to be using that feature all throughout this. If you have a question, make sure that you ask it. And if it's something that we plan to talk about, we'll work it in and we'll do the best that we can to answer all of your questions either live by talking and answering those questions, or we can also respond via that chat feature as well. So go ahead and think of some of those questions that you might have. Go ahead and type those in and we will get to those questions. What I'd like to do to get us started though today is turn it over to Dean Parker, and I'd like to have you, Dean Parker, talk a little bit about the profession of pharmacy. So for some of these prospective students that may have heard about pharmacy, or maybe they have a general understanding of what a pharmacist does, could you take a couple moments here and just talk about, what is a pharmacist and what do they do?
Absolutely. So every one of you has interacted with a pharmacist, I'm sure, at some point in your lives. And that initial interaction was probably with a pharmacist in the community setting. And it's one area that a pharmacist can practice. I'd like to take a step just a little bit farther back and say a pharmacist is the medication expert. We are one member of the healthcare team, along with PAs, doctors, nurses, different types of therapists, fill in the blank. But of all the health professions that exist, pharmacists are the ones who receive the most education, the most training specifically in medications. We interact with every other health profession there is, and we're the last point from at which medications are handled or touched before they get sent straight to the patients. The buck stops with the pharmacist, if you will. Pharmacists practice in the community setting, and the next place people often think about is the hospital setting. And those are two very common areas that pharmacists practice in. But if you had a chance to check out the quiz that was in the material, there's an online quiz that was sent out prior to today's meeting. If you didn't get a chance, maybe you can do it afterwards, where you answer different questions about your personality, your likes and your dislikes, and it matches you up with a suggested field in pharmacy. When you do that, I think you may be surprised to see all the different fields that a person can pursue in the pharmacy with the same degree. Community and hospital, but it includes research, pharmaceutical industry. It includes nuclear pharmacy and handling medications that are radioactive and are used in diagnostics as well as in treatment. It includes transplant pharmacists. It includes pharmacists who specialize in working with specific types of patients, maybe veterans, maybe pediatrics. There's compounding pharmacy, where we are involved in making medications in formulations and doses that maybe aren't manufactured, but are what the patient needs, and we get involved in that. Veterinary pharmacy. If you have a pet and you've had that pet for very long, you may know that they require medications too. They may need those medications in specific formulations, and that's a whole specific area of pharmacy that you can get into. I could talk to you for hours about all the different things that a pharmacist can do, but I think the main point I want to say is we're medication experts. We interact with every other type of health profession that there is. You need to have a love for science and math and be interested in helping others live healthier lives. And that's what pharmacists ultimately do. Sometimes the medications that we're involved with can cure a disease or an illness, and sometimes the medications that we're involved with can help decrease symptoms and help people just live with whatever health problems they have and have a much higher quality of life. And that is extremely rewarding to me. I am fascinated with the field of pharmacy. I have been from the start, and I think it can be an extremely rewarding career.
All right.
Thanks, Dr. Schneider.
Yes, thank you. I think I'll ask you a follow-up question to some of that. I think it was some very good oversight of what a pharmacist does and their importance in the overall healthcare system. You know, and you referred the students on to the Farm for Me quiz. If you haven't, we'll type in the chat window, you know, the farmforme.org website that you can follow along if you haven't had a chance to do that. You know, what do you see as some of the benefits of pharmacy as a career, specifically as it relates to the number of different places that a pharmacist could work? So, and keeping in mind that, you know, there's one degree that you go to, and that's a Doctor of Pharmacy degree, you know, but you have a lot of different things that you can do with it. Could you maybe talk about that for just a...
Sure. Just to make sure I'm answering the question that you're asking, you want to talk about the different areas, like physical locations or types of places that a pharmacist can work, or is that?
Yeah. I think that one of the things that I like to think about with that's so great about a Doctor of Pharmacy degree is that you can go to school for 6 years and have the training, and you really can do lots of different things with that. So I know you talked about some of the different places that a pharmacist could work, but you know, if you could maybe just speak a little bit to you know, some of those benefits that you see from your perspective as to, you know, we have students that come in and do this, but that they have a lot of different opportunities when they graduate.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, first, maybe I'll tell you just a little bit about myself. I have a PharmD. It's a Doctor of Pharmacy degree, and that's what you earn when you go to school to be a pharmacist. When you graduate, you can make everyone in your family call you Doctor whatever. In my career, I have had the opportunity to work in a drug information center, a very large hospital setting, community pharmacy, certainly served the local community, but also served nursing homes. I have been in a doctor's office full-time, working with a group of 5 or 6 physicians and working a doctor's office type of position. I've worked in academia, which is where I am now. I didn't envision that as a pharmacist I would get to be a teacher, but I did, and I loved it. I still love it, getting to teach students what pharmacists can do and helping prepare them for their future practice. I'm now an administrator. All of these things have been with the same degree. I certainly have gone back and done additional continuing education, certifications, and those types of things depending on what I was involved in. But with that very same degree, I've had the opportunity to do all of those types of things. I have a sister who's a pharmacist. She has had a very different career path. We haven't done the same thing probably twice. And she's now a hospital administrator, actually a hospital president with her pharmacy degree. She has worked her way through a variety of settings in a large health system. So what I would share with you is with that same degree, you are not necessarily committing to one area of pharmacy for the rest of your life. There are so many different things that you can pursue. Maybe that's research, maybe that's working in your community setting, maybe that's working with the veterans administration or some other population, a government agency, the FDA. All of those things build off of the very same degree. Hopefully that's where you were going with the question, Dr. Schneider, but if you can't tell, it's exciting to me, all the different things I've been able to do, and who knows what else will be in any one of our career paths. The basic foundation, your knowledge as a pharmacist, sets you up for a lot of different things.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Parker. I know that was, I think there's some common misconceptions that I see students in the public have about pharmacists, and they think that pharmacists only work in that corner drugstore, right? And so certainly that is an option, but there are many other opportunities for pharmacists to pursue in their career path. And I think that you did a nice job of speaking to that. So thank you. And Yeah, the next question I have is
If
for,
I could just add one thing,
yes, absolutely.
the community pharmacy, it is something I think that's people's first impression. It is an extremely important role. The face with whom the public interacts, and I think in the COVID crisis that we're all living through, the COVID pandemic, we've had so many stories of our students and alumni who've been in that community setting, helping people get the medications that they need, stay healthy during this time. And now moving into providing testing. We've been immunizers for a long time, and I hope in the near future, those pharmacists that are in the community setting will also be helping immunize patients against COVID. So boy, that's an extremely important area of pharmacy, but certainly not the only one.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. And that's a great perspective to add. And what I can add too is that that's an area that's been near and dear to my heart. I've had about 20 years of experience in a community pharmacy setting for a retail chain as well as independent pharmacy. So it's a passion of mine. And I would say about 60% of all of our graduates nationwide from doctors of colleges of pharmacy do end up practicing in the community pharmacy setting. But again, there are many other opportunities out there to practice. The next question I have is for Dr. Perry, and Dr. Perry, who also works in community pharmacy setting and her background there. I'd like for you, if you could, to talk a little bit about, what does it take to be able to practice as a pharmacist? What type of degree is required there, and then talk a little bit about our program here at the University of Findlay.
Okay, absolutely. I'd be glad to talk about that. So typically, a pharmacy degree, a PharmD, is required as an entry-level degree to be a practicing pharmacist. There are a variety of different types of program structures across the country. The University of Findlay is a 0-6 model, but there are many other models that I can speak to just to compare and contrast our unique model to some other models. 0-6 model that the University of Findlay has at this particular institution is that we admit students directly into the pharmacy program as a freshman. And so that opportunity is, I think, a very a desirable opportunity for students. Once you are in the pharmacy program and have been accepted, our intention is that at 6 years from that start date that you will graduate successfully as a pharmacist. So we really try to engage with the students intently and support them. And our goal is to graduate every single student that we accept into our program as they move through the program successfully. Other types of program structures you might envision as you see and investigate other schools of pharmacy is that some are what we call a 2+4 program, where there's a 2-year pre-pharmacy program, and then the actual application and admission into the College of Pharmacy begins after 2 years of undergraduate work. And so there is that possibility that not all students will be accepted into the PharmD program after that 2 years. And so that second step admission process isn't always a guarantee for students, which is why the 0+6 or 0-6 program is a desirable model for some students. There are other programs across the country that have a 3-year undergraduate with a 4-year PharmD, or others that have a bachelor's degree requirement that's a 4-4 program where you would obtain a bachelor's degree and then go to an additional 4 years of PharmD school. And so the minimum number of years required for a traditional setting would be 6 years for pharmacy school, but some may be a few more. And so the University of Findlay, we really pride ourselves on serving our students and engaging with them as a small class size. And so that 0-6 model is something that we know that students can be successful with. And so I don't know, Dr. Schneider, if you had any other comments that you'd like me to make regarding the structure of pharmacy programs.
I think that does a nice job, Dr. Perry, of lining that up and kind of setting the stage for the different types of programs that are out there. I think sometimes that can be a little bit confusing, a little bit overwhelming for students to look at all of those options. And I think that one of the things that as a 06 program, we're allowing students that do know that they have an interest in pharmacy to pursue right out of high school. And we're one of less than 10 programs in the entire country that have that opportunity. Whereas the vast majority do require some pre-pharmacy work before they enter into a 4-year professional program. So I think you did a nice job of setting the stage for that. So, all right. Let's see here. Getting some good questions that are coming into the to the chat area, and some of them are being answered. So continue to ask your questions here as they come up. One of the things that maybe I'll kick over to Dr. Parker to answer in terms of a question that came from Jillian Faber here, is wanting to know a little bit more about our telehealth center, and do many people use it, and what have we found out to be some of the benefits in terms of the efficiency of using that type of a delivery model. So maybe you could just talk a little bit about, especially, I don't know about others, but I have actually used telehealth or video health type systems here during this COVID crisis. So can you maybe talk a little bit about high level what our telehealth center is and what opportunities it presents for our students? You are muted, Dr. Parker.
Well, you'd think I'd be onto that by now after all these Zoom
That's
meetings.
okay. All right. So go ahead. Now
Great
you're on.
question, Jillian. I know I and my family have used telehealth quite a bit over the last couple months. We have been, and I'm glad you asked about the telehealth center. For those of you who aren't aware, we have a telehealth center that we operate right out of the College of Pharmacy, and we have for the last 3 or 4 years. We employ 2 pharmacists full-time who run that center, probably a dozen part-time pharmacists, and dozens and dozens of pharmacy students work in that center. We've been doing telehealth before it was cool, before the COVID crisis. We interact with, gosh, I'd say probably about 50,000 patients right now. So yes, we do have a lot of people using it. But the way we work is we're not dispensing medications from this center. We are a pharmacy, but what we do is provide cognitive services about medications to those who need our services. So for example, some of our clients may be hospitals, and they hire us as pharmacists to help patients when they leave the hospital, make sure that they can get the medications that they need, that their insurance covers it, that they know what they're doing, that there isn't confusion when they leave the hospital and their medications have been changed and they get to the pharmacy and they're not sure which ones they keep and which ones they stop. We have clients who are insurance companies who ask us as pharmacists to go through, for all the people who have a particular type of insurance, go through their medications and make sure that they're taking things that are the most cost effective, that they're not taking medications that could be done combined so that they have fewer pills to take. They ask us to contact prescribers to help them make adjustments if we find that patients are having trouble with side effects or affordability. We also look at things where we know if they have a health condition and there's a certain medication that they should be on and it's not there, that we can step in and do those types of things. We interact with patients by video like we're doing today. We can also talk to them on the phone, and we work with all age groups really to help people have the best possible medication regimen for themselves at the best cost to them and their insurance companies or their payers, the employers, for example, whoever's paying for that medication. It's really cool in that our students get to learn about things in the classroom and go into that center and interact with real life people who are taking those medications or who have those health problems and be the problem solvers. So when the COVID crisis came, it was pretty seamless for us. We were already working with patients remotely, and all of our clients were remote. So that business and that service that we provide out of our college is going strong and continues to do so. So thanks for asking, Jillian.
All right, thank you, Dr. Parker. I think I'd like to switch gears here to get a student perspective. And this question comes from Libby. And the question is, how hard is it to balance being a college athlete and also a pharmacy student? So Carson, I think that you would be a great person to answer that question. So how hard is it to balance being a college athlete and a pharmacy student?
So it's definitely not easy. I won't say that. It's not easy, but it's definitely doable. A lot of times it can be hard to make a good schedule and get everything done on time while still making it to practice, and you have your away games and stuff like that. But the staff at Findlay is super flexible. I've had to miss classes and stuff, and just, talk to them in person, send them an email or something, and let them know, and they'll give me everything I need. They'll send me all the resources I needed for that day. They'll let me know if I had any upcoming homework or anything like that. And then on top of that, the coaches are great as well. I was supposed to have a soccer meeting today, actually, during one of the panels. And I was like, unfortunately, I can't go to the meeting. My coach was like, oh, it's no problem. We'll do one-on-one later. Everybody's very understanding. It can get a little rough in season. It's definitely hard. You have to manage a lot. I mean, you're taking a whole lot of courses while also having to do practice and games at the same time. And it can be rough if you let it. But if you're proactive about your work and you're trying to do well in your classes, you'll still do well. If you are working towards, like you have a project coming up next week and you may have free time now, but you might have a 2-day next week, and you're not going to have as much free time next week. Well, you just go ahead and you get it done now. So you work when you can, and then you compromise and you work with your teachers and everything else. And it's hard, but it can be done. It can definitely be done.
Thank you, Carson, for providing that answer there. And if you have any other follow-up questions for Carson there, go ahead and type those into the chat, the question and answer panel. We are getting some of the questions that are pulling in, and we're trying to do our best to answer those questions in that Q&A area, just to get some people's juices flowing a little bit here. One of the questions was a great question about nuclear pharmacy as a career option, and is there any specialized training or schooling to become a nuclear pharmacist? And I just pasted some information into that Q&A area to answer that question. A great resource from pharmacyforme.org that talks about that a little bit. And then also it talks about, specifically to answer that question, 200 after graduation, there's 250 classroom hours that are needed, plus 500 practice hours under an approved preceptor to be able to practice as a nuclear pharmacist. So again, keep sending those questions in. We will do our best to answer that. What I might do here, there was a great question that talks about math and science level courses to take during the 6 years. And so we pasted in some information from our catalog, but I wonder perhaps if we can provide a student perspective about some of the math and science courses. So, Stephanie, you have just completed our entire curriculum here. So what's your take in terms of math and science courses?
Yeah, so I mean, in pharmacy, you're going to need a lot of math, you're going to need a lot of science. I thought, so the curriculum has changed a little bit for what you guys will be taking from what I did, but I think it's important because in math, you're going to be doing a lot of calculations. So the math courses we take in our undergraduate years, those are going to help set you up for success in the professional years. And then you'll be like, oh, I got this. And then the science courses are also very important, like your anatomy and physiology, your immunology, because again, those are all setting the stage essentially for when you're going to get into your therapeutic modules. And really the purpose is to just be able then to go into the pharmacotherapy and, learn about the pharmacology of medications, how the medications work, because you should hopefully have that baseline understanding. And I mean, it is a good amount, but it makes sense, right, with the career you're going into. And I think the courses I took did help to prepare me for my professional courses that followed. But I'm excited to see, how it changes or continues to change, because we're always working on it, trying to make it the best it can be. But I think it's a good amount. And again, it's very important to have these courses for what you're going to do.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. And maybe I kick it over to Dr. Perry or Dr. Parker, one of the two, to perhaps talk about specifically some of the math or science courses, and maybe share your perspectives as a faculty member in terms of what the students could expect.
I can kind of chime in. So some of the questions coming in are how do I prepare myself a little bit more for what to expect within the pharmacy program itself? And so, we'll see if you look at our curriculum sheet that there are a lot of math and science courses that do come up early on in those first couple of years as a pharmacy student. And so if you are currently thinking about taking an extra chemistry class or calculus as a college credit plus student, or even pre-calculus as a college credit plus class, would definitely encourage you to take courses like that. Whether or not they will, college credit plus classes will transfer into University of Findlay's program will depend on the course structure, and our registrar's office can help you determine whether or not that course will transfer in. So we'd be glad to help you through that process to see if what you're thinking about signing up for may or may not transfer into the University of Findlay as a required course. Each campus, college, community college has a little bit different way that they may structure some of their coursework. And so it's always good to work with us to see what courses may or may not transfer in. But if you're thinking about taking an AP course in a biology, math, chemistry, or even an English class as a college credit, we would definitely encourage you to try to get ahead or speak with us individually about what's offered at your campus, on your high school campus, or at colleges near you, and we can definitely help you sort that out. It's really a very much so an individualized approach to selecting those courses and what may be available to you. So Dean Parker, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that. But there are definitely, in my opinion, some things that you can take or sign up for that may get you a little bit ahead or prepare you more for your pharmacy degree.
I think you did a great job, Dr. Perry, of covering that. I really don't have anything to add to that, except if you're not familiar with a website called transferology.com, that is pretty user-friendly. You can type in what it is you're thinking about taking as a college credit plus course at whatever your high school is, and see how that might transfer in to the university. But I would just say, if you don't see it, let us know, because the website is always changing, always being updated. So it's a good place to start, and it's pretty user friendly. So if you haven't heard of that, it's transferology.com. On a related note, I did see that there was a question about students who might be in a pharmacy technician program. And I think that Dr. Perry's answer really applies to that as well. Some of those courses that you're taking through the Pharm Tech program might transfer into the university and count toward the pharmacy degree. We'd be happy to take a look at those things with you. I would say, even if they don't transfer in as one of the degree requirements, the experience that you're getting, your ability to work in a pharmacy as a technician from day one, is definitely value added. It gives you a frame of reference, something to have as a picture in your mind when we talk about things in class. And so I think that's an excellent foundation.
think that's a great perspective to add to that, Dean Parker. Is it one other question here that we have is specifically about College Credit Plus courses. I think some of what Dr. Perry mentioned there was related to transfer courses. College Credit Plus, as you're working through your high school degree or with that, and if you have the opportunity to take College Credit Plus, you can go to the Transferology website. I did paste that into not the Q&A panel, but the actual webinar chat feature there. The hyperlinks they don't seem to be working well in the Q&A panel, but they do seem to be working here in the chat. So there's the Transferology link in the chat feature there. So go ahead and especially if you're taking College Credit Plus courses, to click on that and take a look at who the institution that you're taking the College Credit Plus courses through. If you have questions, you are certainly welcome to reach out to your admissions counselor or to us in the College of Pharmacy, and we'd be happy to work through with that. And it looks like, Shawn, do you have something to add to that?
Yeah,
as well?
I was just going to jump in and let some people who maybe aren't from Ohio know that College Credit Plus is just college courses that are taken in high school, and other states call them different things. So in Ohio, we refer to them as CCP. And I just want to reiterate what Ryan said. By all means, reach out to your admissions counselor. If you don't know who that is, feel free to send me an email or a text. My email is easy. It's Jordan, Jordan @findlay.edu. And get that coming my way, and we will definitely put you in touch with your admissions counselor, because sometimes it's not always on Transferology, and the admissions team can help you kind of figure those classes out as well. And we work very well with the pharmacy department to make sure that we're answering all those questions on the transfer side of things when it comes to credits. I would also say one thing that a lot of high school kids don't know is we will need a separate college transcript as well, moving into your senior year. So the high school transcript is just a part of what we need. So I'll put it back to you though, Ryan.
Yes, thank you very much, Shawn, for adding that information. So one thing I'd like to do is encourage all of those that are attendees today, go ahead and type in a question or two. We've covered a lot of ground here, but we really like to make sure that we're meeting you where you're at today. We can certainly and will here in a moment turn it over and ask the students to provide some of their perspectives about what they're learning in our college. And we will certainly do that. But now's the opportunity. You're able to type that question in, and we will do our best to get that answered either live or in the chat feature there. So I would encourage each of you to type in at least one question here. As you're at home, go ahead and I'd like to see a question from each one of you. So think about that, type that in there. And in the meantime, I'm going to kick it over to I don't think we've heard from you here in a while. So can you talk a little bit about what your perspective is about the University of Findlay and opportunities for students to be involved in other activities on campus? I know that you've had tremendous opportunities to participate in different organizations and student government and Ohio Pharmacists Association. Talk a little bit about what that has meant to you and what you see that as a benefit to all students that could be looking at coming to the University of Findlay.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot of opportunities, and that's one of the reasons why I more so picked Findlay in general. But I've been provided a lot of opportunities because I've been fortunate enough to join different clubs from the beginning, and that's what I more so let a lot of other students know. It's about starting from the beginning, from freshman year, and that's what I did with student government. And through the opportunities that I've been given from Findlay, I've been to New York. I've never gotten to go to New York, and that was because I was a part of student government, and that was an all expense paid trip. And then on top of that, I've been to Cleveland numerous times on different occasions and conferences. So pharmacy more so is one of the facets that you have in college, but you're still having your college experience, and you don't want to forget that. And I more so let a lot of my friends know and my mentees know that there's so much to do out there. So I'm involved in student government, but I'm also in residence life. So I see how students live on campus, and I get to see all the events that happen. So I look at the question inside of the Q&A, the student life opportunities. So there's so many opportunities, but you have to go find them. You can't really expect them to come to you in your room. You have to definitely go out and seek them. And I'm grateful because Findlay more so provided those opportunities for you. You just have to step out of your comfort zone a little bit and be willing to do that. So there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of areas for growth. I've definitely grown as a leader outside of pharmacy, but those things have also helped me to be productive and successful in pharmacy as well. So a lot of opportunities at Findlay, and I think it's unique because it is a smaller school. So you have the ability to really hone in on different opportunities as opposed to a bigger school where you have to fight for a lot of those opportunities. So yeah.
All right, thank you. I think let's pick up on that theme a little bit and maybe go back to Stephanie and then Carson. I'll let you think a little bit about what you would say here as well. But student life opportunities, Stephanie, what were you able to accomplish over the past 6 years in terms of enjoying student life at the campus of the University of Findlay?
Yeah, so again, like O said, there's a lot of different opportunities, especially to get involved. I was actually a resident assistant as well, and that was just a really cool experience because you get to put on programs for the students and think about how you want them to get involved. And then I think it also kind of just opens your eyes to really, okay, like what can we do for fun? There's plenty to do on campus. There's so many organizations, especially in pharmacy. I feel like every year there was a new one. And I was the president of, it's called SNAPA, or Student National Pharmaceutical Association. And that is a great organization if you want to promote diversity in pharmacy and things along those lines. And we actually did like a talent show to raise money for HIV and AIDS. So it was just a super cool experience. Also, as far as just student life in general, there's usually something going on every week, every weekend, sometimes every day during different times of the year. So take those opportunities. I have a lot of free t-shirts, guys. Like, you will not need to buy any more t-shirts for like the rest of your life because they always have free t-shirts or free sweatpants, and we do like a casino night that's super fun. So there's a lot of opportunity for fun events, but also to get involved in. We also have like a math club I was in for a couple of years. That was super fun. And also, if you like the theater, you can get involved in that too. They always put on some good shows. So, you know, there's really something for everyone. And what is really great about Findlay is that you can, you know, really make it what you want, and you can make your own organization. So much opportunity for involvement. It's pretty cool.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. And Carson, what would you add in terms of the student life? Maybe talk a little bit about as well what there is to do, not just on campus, but off campus in Findlay.
Yeah, so I had a little bit of an advantage, I think, coming into the semester with student life, just because I knew a whole lot of people on the soccer team and stuff who, you know, had already been here for 2-3 years, and you know, they were inviting everybody to come to their clubs and come to these events and stuff. And like they said, there's a whole lot of stuff to do in the pharmacy department. I remember there's just one class in pharmacy. We had the entire class just dedicated to our mentors, talking about all the organizations that are available for us to join. And almost all of them are professional, and it's a really good opportunity to learn something and get involved. And like Stephanie said, there's a whole lot to do just for fun. I've got a lot of friends who are in, like, you know, Habitat for Humanity, and they enjoy going out and like helping people get their groceries, helping walk stuff to be just a lot of charity stuff. I get emails all the time about just different stuff you can do. Like, yeah, I got a ton of free t-shirts. There's been a couple days where I've like walked out of the cafeteria and there's an event going on in the middle of campus. But as far as off campus, there's a whole lot to do. There's a lot of food. There's a lot of local places you'd like to go. I'll just get my roommate and a couple other friends. We'll go have a nice night out and just eat something and then chill out. It's a lot of fun. I will. I mean, there's a lot of stuff where you can just go and hang out with some of the upperclassmen and stuff. I know like they would host like a FIFA tournament and stuff from the soccer team. Everybody's really friendly and they're always looking to find more people to hang out with. And there's a whole lot of stuff to do just all around.
All right, thank you, Carson. And maybe I'll go right back to you on this one, Carson. And if there's another either O or Stephanie would like to chime in too, is a lot of times we see questions that are that students have about what's it like to transition from taking classes in high school to coming to campus, and what was that transition like for you, Carson, over the past year of you were able to come start your P1 year. You just finished that up, but reflect back to last fall. What was that transition like for you coming from high school to college? And what did you learn through that process that you might provide as advice to some students that are in that range?
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for sure. It's a little weird kind of just being like thrown into campus life and just kind of being on your own if you're living on campus and you're away from your parents and stuff. It's definitely an adjustment. And the classes, I mean, for instance, I was like, I know all my stuff for this chemistry test. I don't need to study that much. And then I didn't do that well on it because college classes are different than high school classes. Everything's a lecture, whereas in high school, like not all my classes were really lecture focused. Some of them were, like more participation based or something along the lines of that. But everything's a lecture here, and you're just you're expected to buy in and transition. And the teachers help a lot with that. A lot of my fall teachers, they had lots of suggestions. They had lots of things to say about, you should be studying like this much for this class week, or the way that you should structure your schedules in this way. My tip is my best tip is definitely to sort out your time management. That's the easiest way to do well. There's a whole lot kind of just being thrown at you, but if you know how to manage your time, it's so much less than it actually is. It seems like a lot, but it's not as much as you think it is. If you're smart about your time management, it's really not a big deal at all. The transition was definitely weird because of a lot of the freedom that you get being away from home and stuff. And so now it's on you to do your homework, but you don't have your parents saying, hey, shouldn't you be doing this or shouldn't you be doing that? Well, now it's all on you. So if you don't get it done, there's no one you can blame but yourself. So I would really just say time management and making sure that you're proactive about getting all your work done.
All right, thank you, Carson. Great advice there. I think that looking at the clock here, we have a few more minutes of what we had scheduled time. We're going to do our best to get through these questions. We may need to do so in a little bit of a rapid fire perspective here. So I'm going to kick it to Stephanie here, just because you are just about finishing. Well, you just graduated. You're going to be graduating, get your diploma. How did you know that pharmacy was what you wanted to get your degree in?
Yeah, so I've actually known since 8th grade I wanted to be a pharmacist. I love helping people, so that's a big part of pharmacy. And then also I actually had a condition, and then medication helped to treat it. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I want to know how this works, and I want to know how it helps someone get better. And that's what I really think my favorite part about pharmacy is that you get to help people. And what we're really great about as pharmacists, I think, is listening to the patient. Sometimes they feel like they're not heard, but especially at Findlay, we really promote, hearing our patients, treating them, not just their condition or not just the number we see on a lab value. So definitely helping people is, I would say, at the top of my list why I chose pharmacy.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. Dr. Perry, I think you can add perspectives of being a practicing pharmacist, being in a professor role. What is your favorite thing about pharmacy?
Oh, just one thing? There's probably several things that I
Yes,
really
favorite thing. Favorite thing.
my favorite thing. All right. So my favorite thing about being a pharmacist is all of the activity that, or how we can engage with other healthcare providers. So we think about pharmacists maybe being in a silo or in our store, we're just, dispensing the medications. But we're actually that connection oftentimes between that prescriber and the patient at the community level, since that's the background that I have. That's probably where I can focus the most on about what my favorite part is. But on a daily basis, I'm communicating with the patient's doctors, with the patient, to make sure that everything's connected together to close the loop. And I think that patients find that so rewarding, and you really get to know them, they trust you. They're the person they come to sometimes for problems unrelated to their medical health, their health or their medications. And it's just really rewarding, I think, to connect with others and to help them understand some of the more complex health conditions and medication regimens that they're on. Outside of that, I think pharmacists do continue to communicate with other healthcare providers in other areas of pharmacy and build that connection to close the loop with the medication therapy management. And I think that's probably the most rewarding part of the job for me, is really helping to bridge that gap between the knowledge of medications and seeing those patients get better and their quality of life improving because of the efforts that you are able to put into helping them understand things.
Thank you. I got a question here that I think that you would be well positioned to answer here. What advice would you give to someone looking at a College of Pharmacy in order to help them prepare to make a decision to come to the University of Findlay?
Yeah, so that decision is definitely not an easy one, and I'm not going to pretend like it's one that you can quickly make, but you really just have to look inside and try and look towards what you see for yourself in the future. And it's kind of hard because there's a lot of different things that pharmacy can take you to, and just school in general, but making that decision really comes down to who do you want to be and what are the type of opportunities you want to open yourself up to. And I think the great thing about Findlay is that it provides you so many different avenues and opportunities that have been mentioned today that a lot of other schools will probably not be able to provide to you on a personal level. And that's really what drove me to Findlay as part of that personal interaction. Smaller class sizes, especially for these tougher courses that you will take, having that connection with your teacher, being able to reach out is going to be crucial when you're going through the program. And then also having a smaller knit community makes it easier for you to lean on other people as well and ask for help. The school provides great tutoring and resources for you to be successful. And so think about all those different factors when you're making the decision. But I think Findlay is ultimately going to be the one that's there for you when you really needed that personal touch, especially me being from 5 hours away from home, having people around me to keep me encouraged and motivated while I'm taking on these different tasks has been really beneficial for me and has really created a great, successful story thus far through my college career as I hit the halfway point. So, yeah.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you, to share those perspectives here. And looking at the clock here, it looks like I think we've answered almost all the questions that we received, either as part of what we were going through or in the chat Q&A window there. So what I'd like to do at this point is to kick it over to Dean Parker, just to share any final thoughts there on her behalf, and then maybe back over to Shawn to share anything else from the admission side of things. So Dean Parker.
Thanks, Ryan. Just on behalf of the University of Findlay and the College of Pharmacy, I'd like to thank you for taking some time today to visit with us, to a little bit more about pharmacy as a future career for yourselves, and to hear what we have to offer at the University of Findlay with regard to that. We would love to interact with you one-on-one after this, whether it's face-to-face or virtually. We can meet you wherever you are and however we need to answer more questions for you, and would love to do that. And I think that that's my segue to kick it over to Shawn, who's with admissions, to talk to you about how you can get in touch with us with more questions or any requests, whatever we can do to help you as you're exploring what you want to do after high school. We want to do that. So thank you so much and have a great day. Shawn?
All right, thank you, Dr. Parker. I know definitely for us, everything starts with an application. If you are a current junior, you're very welcome to complete an application right now. It's open. It opened on April 1st, so you can get online, fill out an application. That'll start our entire process. I know we have a camp coming up, and definitely contact your admissions counselors or anyone on this panel. They can tell you a little bit more about the pharmacy camp. We are still planning on having it, and I believe it's in July, right, Dr. Parker?
Yes, it is. It is Sunday, July 26th through Thursday, July 30th. And we are crossing both fingers, or both hands, both fingers, to just say we hope it happens.
Yes.
And if it does, we'll move on from there. But it's an awesome opportunity to get a feel for the campus and to meet other students who have similar interests as you continue to explore.
And so many kids really just discover why Findlay is the right place for them at that camp. So we strongly encourage you to come to that camp. But as I said at the beginning, definitely start with an application, get that coming our way. Contact your admissions people, keep in touch with the pharmacy department as well. We are all here to help you make the decision and choose the University of Findlay. I love to say we're always the right choice, and we want to show you why. So anything we can do to help, we are here to do that. Thank you so much for coming. We wish you all the best, and hopefully we get to see you many, many more times throughout this entire process. Have a great day.
All right, thank you, Shawn. Thank you to all of our panelists. If you all want to turn your videos back on, just for a quick sign off here, just want to thank everybody for participating. Great perspectives that you were able to share there today, and I think that was a great way to answer our questions for the various students. So in addition to the camp, the only other plug is to come do a campus visit. I do recognize some names of people that I did some visits with. So if you have done a visit, we'd like to encourage you to come back in the fall to do a second visit, and we can really get to tailor those experiences to show you what the University of Findlay experience is all about. So with that, thank you all for participating, and hope to see you on campus someday soon. Thanks.